Expansions with me. I'm Jane. You get a close up today. I felt like sitting here. So I hope that you're doing really well wherever you are in this right now moment. So this is our spiritual dimension of wellness. It's my favorite because it's the unseen and it's like how to live in love or kindness or connecting to something bigger or all those fun things that like they don't talk about in school. Like in school they don't talk about like conscious communication. In school they don't talk about what altruism is and actually support it. In school they've taken away recess and art and play, and those are key components to spirituality, to connecting to higher energies, higher frequencies, to source. It's like it's fun. It's fun, damn it. So something that I wanted to talk about today is our relationship with our minds. So take a couple deep breaths and just start to get really present with you and this moment. As your breath flows in and out, become more aware of the air that's flowing into your body and how it pauses, even if just for a moment, and how it leaves the body, feeling this inflow and outflow of great spirit, of life force energy moving in and out. Notice the weight of your body and the air around it. And maybe cultivate a sense of gratitude for the ability to focus, whether it's focused for a long time or a short amount of time, but that you have a brain. So take another deep breath in and just let it go. Yay, we're here. So this relationship with our mind has been, I think, pretty unhealthy as a whole. I think that the relationship that we have with our thoughts is very interesting. I feel like most of the time we're trying to steer them, force them into another direction, or the thoughts are controlling us, making us be a certain way, making us feel certain things. I feel oftentimes the relationship with our mind is not healthy, it's not balanced. I feel oftentimes that our mind is always on and we can't shut it up. We're always thinking about what I need to do, where I need to go, how am I going to get there, how am I going to afford it, what am I going to wear, what are they going to think about me, who's going to be there, are they going to like me, am I going to like them? Am I going to get lost? Do I need to get gas in the car? When was the last time I had the oil changed? Oh, I forgot I really need to get the car washed. I think I need air in the tires. So our mind will just keep going and going and going until we stop it. No fault of the mind that it does that. It's been trained to do that. In our culture, we have been trained to always be thinking about the next step. We've been trained to never feel like we have enough. So we've then trained our mind to focus on what we don't have and then try to create ways to get it. Get the things that we don't have. Be the things that we are not. Right? Achieve the next goal. Our minds are also inundated with data all the time, especially in our current now, where we all carry around a small computer in our pockets. And not only is it a small computer, it's the phone, It's the Rolodex, if you remember those. It's community boards where you find out what's going on. It's a social network where you can meet new people. It's a television where you can watch things all day. It's the news. You can find out what's going on anywhere in the world. You can find the weather in any timeline. It's a dictionary. It's the encyclopedia. It's the club. It's the music, right? It's the radio. It is always calling our attention. And a lot of times that comes from a fear of missing out. Well, what if I don't look? Right? You hear the text message ding. You got to look to see who it was because you don't want to miss it because you got to respond. Although, you know, 30 years ago, we had phones that were in the homes, cords and cordless phones. And if people missed the call, they just like left a a message on the answering machine. That was it. So when you went out, when you left the house, you weren't attached to the phone. You weren't attached to the television. You weren't attached to all this other information coming in. So when you would go outside back then, you would be filled with information of possibilities, of nature, of communication, of neighbors. You would be in the data of whatever place you were around that was multi-directional, multifaceted, right? If you left the house, you had your yard or your community or your complex or whatever. You were in school, you were at work, you had real interactions in this realm in all different ways and times and places. But now, since we have these phones on us, our mind has one source to go to, one source to go to, one source to go to for everything. And that's created a relationship with our mind that forgets that we are here. So if my mind is always focusing on the this for the source of everything, then my mind stops losing the ability to come back to Jane for the source of information. For my mind to say, "Hey Jane, what do you need?" and it give me time to feel into it and think, or to feel into it and feel like, well, maybe I need socks on because my feet are cold, or I'm kind of hungry, or I'm thirsty. I'm gonna yawn every time. I don't understand. I really have no idea why I do this every time. Anyway, so because we don't give ourselves the because our mind hasn't been trained to come back to us for the information, we stop losing the sense of trust with ourselves. We might feel something, maybe I feel my feet are cold. So instead of me feeling like, well, what can I do about it? Let me be open to a possibility of let me turn the heat on, let me go outside where it's warmer, or let me put on socks or a scarf or whatever. So we've been trained to literally go on the phone and Google cold feet. And then WebMD is going to tell you that you have something. And there's a drug for that, so don't worry. Our minds have been ambushed. They've been taken over in ways that has happened slowly over time, so we don't even notice that our minds don't turn to us, ourselves, our heart, our body. It doesn't turn to spirit, to God. It doesn't turn to the earth, to nature. It's been trained to go to the phone. And the phone, especially now, it's very fast paced. I mean, it's always been fast paced, but it's like fast paced. We got like TikTok where it's like no more than 3 minutes at a time of someone putting their information out there. So instead of watching like a 30-minute TV show or an hour show or a 2 or 3 hour movie, we're watching 3 minute blips at the most, 3 minute blips at the most. So what that does is it takes our attention span and it shortens it down, and then it creates a space where we don't have the practice of being patient and listening. Welcome to 2022, where we are so full in our minds that we can't be mindful and we're afraid to be mindless, forgetting that the mind needs a break, not just when we're sleeping, because when we're sleeping, it's still working. Our brain and mind are still working when we're sleeping. It's processing all the subconscious stuff that happened in that day or in your lifetime or in any lifetimes in any realm of existence. So, although the brain itself is doing its like cleaning and restoring thing at night through the glymphatic system, if we have given the mind so much to work with during the day, then it's so busy processing the day that it doesn't have time to just stop. So the message that I keep kind of coming back to is allowing my mind to just be still and allowing my mind to be in a space of discovery, to let my mind be in the place of exploration, to let my mind play and imagine, because all of that is within me and my higher self. None of that is in a phone or on a device. It's not. It's just not. When we allow our minds to just be with the body and be with the breath and just let the mind scan the body without judgment. Oftentimes we have dissociated our minds from our body so much because we don't want to find out what's actually there. If I ignore my body, then I will be ignoring the pain and then I don't have to deal with the pain. Forgetting that the body's a messenger and any pain that it gives us is a message of an energetic or emotional trauma that was left unprocessed. Every single time. Every time. Because energy precedes matter and emotions are energy. It's information in motion. And when we don't process them, it stops in our body and it creates things that we call pain, discomfort, dis-ease, disease. But if we can open up our minds to, for example, scan the body without judgment, but just to be aware of it and to witness it. So it might be like, my feet are cold. Let me see if I can now open up and play with that. So this is now allowing the mind to be open and play. And maybe I wonder if I can, every time I breathe in, imagine warmth moving from my heart down to my feet. What if? And allow myself to just be in that. When we do that, that's a form of letting the mind rest and play at the same time. Because our minds are so overloaded with news, media, data from the screens that we don't even know what to do with ourselves. We don't know how to be in open-mindedness and playfulness at the same time. We've not been trained to do that. It's in our nature, like we're designed to do that, but we've been trained in the opposite direction. It's kind of like this one time, I ran like half marathons a lot, and then I ran a marathon, and I had a certain pace. I ran a 10-minute mile. Like that was just my pace. It was just steady, it was comfortable, and I could just keep it up for hours. And then I had a friend that wanted to run a half marathon, wanted me to run a half marathon with her. And I was like, yes, on it. And her pace was a lot slower than mine. And so I had to train to move slower. And it was interesting because it hurt. It was uncomfortable. It hurt my body. It created a space of frustration because I was like, I know I can run faster than this. And it's because I was just so accustomed to moving my legs at a certain gait. That's all it was. So, same thing with the mind. So, to give ourselves a training program to let the mind be open and still, and even to be in exploration and discovery of play may be uncomfortable. It may hurt. It may feel frustrating. You may feel like you're not doing a good job at it, or like you should be doing all these other things instead. This is a waste of time. Forgetting that it's a part of our design to be able to be in open discovery play in the mind. So when I think about like, well, how do I do that? I am getting better and better at it. And it's also because it's in my awareness and it's in my focus. Like, I want to allow my neural pathways to turn off in the areas that just are stressing me out, And I would like to turn on new neural pathways in my brain that are creative and outside of the box and still like brilliant solutions to whatever is in my path, you know? So for me, it means that I have I've created a devotion. I have a devotion to, for me, it's love. And what can support love in my mind, what can support love in my body, what can support love in my life. It's like where else can love be? How else can I support love? How else can I devote my life to a bigger expression of love for me and for others? Well, that means that my mind isn't going to be stressing out about all these things and scrolling on TikTok for 5 hours, you know? So it takes a devotion and it takes a commitment. If I'm in partnership, I'm devoted to that partner. I'm committed to them, right? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to be vulnerable. So for me to do that for myself with my mind, it means that I've got to be committed. So like for me, I give myself 40 days of something. So I did 40 days of Sananga. It's a plant medicine for the eyes. And so I did that. And it doesn't take long, and yet it was my daily devotion. So during that time with that medicine, my mind wasn't focused on anything else. It was just with the medicine. Now I'm committing to doing 40 days of a type of transformational breath work that's not necessarily easy, it's not necessarily pleasant, but I'm committed to it. And during that time, my mind isn't focused on anything other than my breath. Like, that's it. So know that I'm going to get at least 5 to 10 minutes every day of a devoted time that my mind isn't thinking about, well, do I need to schedule this? Oh, I need to respond to that email. Oh, wait, what's my grocery list? Oh, fuck, I need to go get groceries. Those are going to stay in my realm of knowing that I need to. The need tos and got tos and shoulds are still going to be in the awareness. And taking 5 to 10 minutes every day for the mind to be still is medicine. It gives our body so much energy. It connects us back with our heart and what's actually important. Because if I devote my life to love and the practices that support it, that means that my mind cannot be too stressed out, because then I'm not loving my body. I'm not loving my mind. I'm only using half of my mind and not the whole brain. So that devotional practice to letting the mind just be free, it sounds simple and it sounds really hard, because there are no like surefire ways to do it and there are no set steps to do it. I've just learned many ways, many paths that lead to the similar destination of stillness in the mind. Breath work is key for me. Pausing and just focusing on my breath for 5 to 10 minutes, whether it's just counting my breath or counting and then making the breath move with that count. Maybe it's going for a walk without listening to anything, without having my phone on me. I see people going for a walk and like they're walking and they're talking on the phone and they're scrolling and they're doing the thing. And I'm like, they're not even noticing how beautiful the trees are right now and how lovely the sky is. They don't even notice I'm passing them and I'm waving to say, hi, human neighbor. They don't even notice. So an invitation would be to like go for the walk and leave the device Leave the earbuds out. Maybe it's if you're driving, maybe turn the radio off. Maybe if when you get home, if the first thing you do is turn the television on and you're listening to like whatever, say the news or anything, what if you turn music on instead? Or what if whenever you get home, you automatically turn music on? What if you went in silence? Just give your mind something else to do and not do at the same time. That would be great. Like to me, that's epic. Um, I spend time at my altar. I sit there and I have conversations with the goddess, the God, the source, the is, my higher self, the ancestors. I stop and I communicate with the unseen, you know. I communicate with the heart. I communicate with the heart. For my mind to communicate with the heart, I gotta just be quiet. And it's basically me asking questions and then listening. It's very similar to prayer. Prayer is a great way to open the mind up. Now, if I'm writing my to do list of what do I need to ask God for, that's stressing out, yo. Don't do that shit. I mean, you can. You do you. But our minds are designed to think logically and linearly and with focus. And the mind is to be open and creative and agile. The mind is actually designed and made to do and be both. So, my invitation for all of us is to allow our minds to just take a break. They've been so busy for so long, so much stress in so many of our lives. For some of us, we're feeling the crunches and squeezes, and many of us are having the mind think really big thoughts like, how am I going to afford to eat? You know, those are stressful thoughts. And I'm not saying to ignore things that are important, but what I'm saying is to allow the mind to be open to, instead of hustling and hustling and hustling, but like all the time, all the time, all the time, but to create a space of balance in the mind so that the mind can go, go, go and do, 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 and it can pause, 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 and play, 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 and move toward a space of balance in that. Moving to the space where my mind is equally like focused and laser focused, and I'm creating stuff and I'm like nailing it. I redid my website. I got this done. I got that done. Look at that. And say I do that for 6 hours, however, in the day. And then for 6 hours, I'm going to be in meditation. I'm going to be in play. I'm going to be in discovery. I'm going to be in creative mode. I'm going to be in that. And then so that's 12 hours. So then I have 12 hours of rest. Like we have so much time in these 24-hour days. The fact that we use our minds for at least 12 out of those hours. Like we typically in our culture use our minds like all frenetic and for 12 of the 24 hours in a day. So if you sleep for 8 hours, it gives you 4 hours. Well, what if you need to like take a shower and run some errands and you have a family and you got to cook? Well, now you may have 1 hour. When did the mind ever get to play? When did the mind just get to just be and just like stare out the window? Or just play with the dog? Like really? I am looking to the day when we are more balanced in the mind and that the heart is the guiding force. No longer feeding into the grind culture and the I must know everything so that I feel okay. I look to the day when we are not always looking to fix ourselves all the time. Oh, I need to be healthier. I need to be thinner. I need to be stronger. I need to be this. I need to have this. I need to. That that we can like move away from that and trust that any needs are going to be met because we have a brilliant mind and tons of experience and a great support system of the community. Like, these are the days that I look to. And I'm doing my best to like live into that vision. And I know that the only way that I can experience that vision like outside of my life is if other people do the same thing, right? So like if you did the same thing and your brothers and your sisters did the same thing, we would literally live in a completely different world. I'm down with that. I'm so down with that. Like I accept the world exactly as it is. And if it were changed to be in more harmony and balance, where people actually felt relaxed in the mind and more people were able to sleep better because their minds weren't all stir crazy, and that the heart was actually the guiding force, yeah, totes. Sign me up. Sign me up for that. But I think that's what we're here to do is to remember these things. Third time's a charm. Why? I'm not even tired. Like, that's the thing. I don't know why. And it's only on this. I do recordings and stuff and like talk all the time. And I don't yawn like that. I think I just feel relaxed. Maybe my mind is like, you need a break. Actually, I probably just need to go outside and go for a walk. I think it's probably what it is. Who knows? Anyway, food. That's what it is. I'm like, why am I yawning? I could have Googled it. Why am I yawning? Why do I yawn 3 times in a half an hour? You don't get enough oxygen. Look at that. Take bigger breaths. Don't yawn as much. Or maybe we just need to yawn more. And I talk about yawning and we yawn. I wonder how many people that made yawn. If that made you yawn, will you comment like, yes, I yawned because you did. Thanks. I would love to know how many people yawned because I did. That's fun. All right. Well, I hope that you let your mind be free and that you maybe open your mind to the heart and to discovery and to play and to stillness. And that you give yourself plenty of time to be in those places so that if you find that you're frustrated and you feel like, I can't do this because my mind keeps going, don't give up. Don't give up on you. It's okay. Like, you don't have to be like, I sat in meditation, I was completely blank for 5 hours. That's not easy. That takes sometimes lifetimes of practice, right? To just empty the mind totally without any point of focus. And our mind is designed to take a break. So enjoy the break. Enjoy the day. Enjoy your breath. Enjoy your body. Enjoy the magical brain that you have that's full of so much knowledge. Useful knowledge, useless knowledge, full of information from your whole entire life of experiences that you and I could continue to go back in our past and continue to unpack forever. If someone paused our life right now and said, you got to pick apart everything you ever experienced, we literally could live the rest of our lives doing that. So we could never be done if we're going to go back in time and do healing work. If we can be more present, we allow a lot of healing to happen, especially when when we're in the present moment with the heart, when we're in a space of love. So be here now, right? Ram Dass. So continue taking care of yourselves and take care of each other. Remember how loved you are. Remember how beautiful and unique your mind is. The way you see the world, it can only be seen the way you see it. No one else will ever see the world the way you do. No one will have the perspective that you do because no one's lived your life. No one will ever think the way you do. Literally impossible. You might find some people that agree with some stuff, and maybe they've had similar experiences, but no one has your mind. And even if we all had the same exact experience all together, we're all going to have a completely different experience because we all had a different perspective. whether it's from the angle in which we sat in the room and what we actually physically saw with our eyes, to the way we registered the temperature, our feelings about the people in the room, the space that we're in, what we ate that morning, what we need to do afterward. Everyone's going to have a different experience, even if it looks on the surface like we're having the same exact one. So letting our minds just be open and be in some stillness and play allows us to be able to see more of the similarities in all of us, while also being open to the knowing that none of us are remotely the same. That leads to acceptance. World peace, people. So anyway, I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. And just remember how loved you are. Okay? Okay. Okay. Okay, love